I have 6 things I do daily and 7 boosters that help boost my mood, help take care of myself when I'm feeling really down, if I'm overworked, just feeling terrible. So here is the list. I was just thinking about this, in fact, that so here's what happened. I kind of felt really terrible yesterday, and with the whole just recording the first YouTube video, and it was a nightmare doing the live version of it because the quality was really bad, the video was simple, so I couldn't figure out how to fix it. So now I'm recording the video. I have time today to do that, and so I said, okay, I'll record it. And that caused a little bit of an upset, just thinking, oh man, I committed to doing this daily and I want to, I need to. It's going to become one of my practice. And how do I just directly upload a video, make it easier for me, not spend time just, editing. Of course, I promised I won't edit. So even if I'm recording this video right now, it's unedited. It's just going to go on. I'm probably going to put in the outro at the very end. And the challenge still is I have to transfer the video from my phone to my computer. Now I optimized that by, instead of just doing it over Wi-Fi, I connect it to a cable and I directly just drag drop. It's a little bit faster that way. And then technically I can, now that I think about it, make it even easier for me to just drag drop that video to YouTube and then just put a thumbnail. Now what I do when I record it, I do put it in Windows Movie Maker, and then I put the outro and that. And then I have to save it on my computer, which takes a while, and then I have to upload it to YouTube. So now that I think about it, I could reduce the steps and make it easier if I'm not able to record live. So yeah, I'll ponder on that a little bit. So what happened was, that was one of the things that I just got really frustrated because it took way too much time to do my first video, and that was not what I intended to do. That was the whole point. It was supposed to be quick. And the other thing was, it took me way too long to start my Facebook ads. That was very upsetting. I had completely forgotten all the tutorials I had taken, and every kind of note, all the notes that I took too were just scattered, and I put everything in one place, in one note. Even then, it just wasn't intuitive. I was looking through the list and wondering some things. So only if I made a video, see? So yeah, it was really frustrating. I had to relearn some of the things, and so both of those were my big things that I was doing yesterday, and it just made me really frustrated. So I felt terrible. I had a commitment. Well, not a commitment. Yeah, I did actually. I had a commitment yesterday night. And I was so tired. I had such a horrible headache. I felt this, after the headache subsided, I felt this pressure behind my eyes and my head. And so I said, okay, I'm not going. And so I let the person know, hey, I'm not coming. And so then I just watched a movie. It's about 2 girls who started from scratch, and it's an Indian movie. I'm gonna paste the link to Netflix or in the name below. It's a very inspiring movie. I saw it once before, and I said, okay, I need some motivation, inspiration. So I watched it. And when I woke up, I realized, I always have these morning aha moments. I realized, oh, wait a minute. I really do feel terrible still, and something is off. I mean, yes, it's a challenging time with both my businesses. I'm trying to launch them off the ground together. And of course, anything that can go wrong does go wrong and has gone wrong, and it's just stressful time. Although I know I have ways to reduce my stress. So one of the things that popped up in my head was, oh, I'm not doing this that I need to do daily. So all in all, I decided to make a list, or 2 lists, of these practices that I need to make sure I'm doing daily and I don't fall off, because that really emotional distress. Of course, there's always stuff going on in our life. That's just what it is. Okay, so let's just dive into the list. I have 6 things that I must do daily, on a daily basis. And the very first thing on that list is my spiritual practice, or however you want to call it. If you're a religious person, it's prayers. So I pray a couple times a day. It takes about 5 minutes, and I make sure I also do that at night. I read certain short prayers after my nightly prayer. It's kind of interesting. I have to think about a way to explain this. We have, yeah, so there's a mandatory prayer, which is more physical actions, and there's also some recitation. And there are also these short duas. There are just couple line verses that are just reading prayers, just quick, I hope it brings me peace, or like those kinds of things. So I read several of those at night. And then I have a chapter that I've recently started to read every night. And then my morning is the same thing, the morning prayer, and another chapter of recitation. So that's my religious practice. And if I feel like it's been a very stressful day, then I take a couple minutes in the morning or a couple minutes at night to just meditate. No, I know it's a big word for some people, like what? And it just means it's to clear my head. That's all I do. So I take some time just to clear my head and relax. There's also this exercise called body scanning. So, if meditation just, that word sets you off, look up body scanning. And that just means, you're going to scan your whole body head to toe and just relax each muscle and just feel the relaxation come on. I'll do that a couple minutes in the morning and in the evening. So anyway, those are all just many different types of spiritual practices you can do, whatever that makes sense for you if you wanted to. That's what I do. That's what I'm sharing here. Now, the second thing I do regularly is exercise. I'm using that word a little loosely. I do it every morning. Now, some days it's just stretching. Some days it's yoga. Some days I go out on a half-hour run, 1-hour run. I'll hike up a trail of, I think it was 250 steps. So it really varies. The intensity varies. I'll do either a 5-minute HIIT at home or HIIT. Whatever. It really varies on how I'm feeling, how my body's feeling. It can be really light or really intense. And that's something I must do on a regular basis to feel good. My body needs to feel healthy. The third thing I do every day is wake up early and sleep early. If I sleep really late, I don't get a good night's sleep, and then I wake up late, and then I've lost half the day, and it just makes me feel terrible. So I make sure I do that on a regular basis. Then it's eating healthy. I make sure I am not eating a lot of junk food, and overall I have a pretty standard practice. I have apple with almond butter for breakfast, and I might change it around. I might have pancakes with strawberries and dark chocolate or some kinds of berries, and so I can change it around and add eggs to it and that kind of thing. Typically it's apple with almond butter, and then I'll try and sneak in hummus and carrots for snacks or something like that. So overall I try to eat healthy, not a lot of junk food. That just makes me feel better. Then I make sure there's enough downtime, playtime, or break. Now it's either or an and. So there's a lot going on. It's easy, especially if you're working from home, just to get caught up and just work all day, 7 days a week, working in the morning, in the evening, just all the time. You can go completely crazy that way. So I make sure that usually I take breaks, and those breaks I'll just take 5 minutes to go pray or stretch or do both. And there's also downtime, which is, again, it doesn't matter in the morning or evening, especially in the evening. I try to stop working at a certain point in time, and it's helpful because my roommate comes in around 6 or 7 anyway, so I know that, that's when I have to take a break. It works. I try to take a break a little bit earlier, like I try to stop working by 5 or 5:30. So what I do is then I read a couple pages of a book, or listen to a podcast that's about 15 minutes, and sometimes they're longer podcasts, 30 minutes. And I usually reserve longer ones for car rides. What else do I do? Yeah, I believe those. Well, yeah. So there's cooking. That's a stressful activity for me. Nonetheless, it's still a break. It's downtime. And then there's playtime, which is something that I do for fun. I can watch something for fun. Now, if there's an overlap, I love to read, and it's really exciting. I'm reading an exciting book, and for my playtime, I try to read a non-fiction book as opposed to a fiction book, and it doesn't really always happen. I enjoy some of the fiction books way too much. So it really depends on how you're categorizing your downtime, playtime, and break. And the last thing that I do is human connection on a daily basis. I used to live alone for almost 2 years, and now I have a roommate. And it was challenging because I would go 3 days. I would go 3 days without even talking to anyone or seeing anyone. I would just work from home. And again, depends on when my classes were. So it didn't make me feel very good about myself. Also, when I used to work at Microsoft, I had my own office. I would close my door and just write code for 2 or 3 days and not see people. And that same kind of issue. So I make sure that every evening I call someone. And now I don't need to do that because I have a roommate. So I talk to her. As soon as she walks home, that's it. I stop work, I connect with her. And those are the 6 things I do on a daily basis. So when I fall off of any of these, I just feel myself feeling kind of ugh. So when I was feeling just ugh yesterday and woke up today thinking, what am I missing? What have I fallen off of? And it was my spiritual practice and the downtime playtime, both. So I'm back up on the wagon. I'm doing my practice now, and I'm making sure I take enough breaks throughout the day, at least 2, that's all I really need, and then stop working in the evening, all of that, do my podcast reading, whatever combination of that. So those are the 2 things I need to get back up on right now. And so it's really nice having this list that I can look at. Now, even if I'm doing all of these on a daily basis, so typically that's all it takes, with all the craziness going on, I just have to make sure I have my daily practice, and it just helps me stay afloat. Sometimes, though, for whatever reason, I need a picker-upper. It's maybe something has gone wrong terribly, or just work-wise, health-wise, something is crashing, and I'm just feeling horrible, and I know I'm doing all my daily practices. Then, in that case, I just need a booster. Now, here are a couple things I do to add that extra level of boost that I need. First thing I do is my morning caffeine. Now, careful, if you're listening to this, doesn't mean just load up on caffeine. See, I'm not a caffeine drinker. I don't drink tea or coffee, black tea, green tea, coffee, nothing. I don't consume caffeine at all. I, in fact, started drinking coffee a couple weeks ago, about 2 months ago, actually, 2 or 3 months ago when my roommate moved in, and she drinks coffee every morning. So I don't know, I kind of felt inspired for some reason, like, oh, coffee, interesting, I should try and see how it goes. And so my coffee is extremely, extremely light, and I don't do it that often, maybe once a week. So if you're a heavy caffeine drinker, just be careful with that. I'm not saying load up on caffeine. So for me, because I don't ever drink caffeine at all, that's my booster, that's my picker-upper. One day I'm just feeling tired or just low energy, green tea really helps. And I have this favorite lychee flavored green tea. I'm going to put a link, Amazon link to that below. It's just delicious, smells great. I love that. And some days I feel coffee, so I make a super light coffee for myself. I put coconut milk and honey in it. So that's what I do. Then the second thing is I kind of check in with myself and say, have I been working on my bed, which is my sleep zone, or doing some stressful activities in this area that's just my living room, couch space? I need to make sure when I'm here, it's not work, it's here to relax. I use it to relax. And then, that's just kind of a checkpoint, checking in thing. But I make sure that if I've been doing that, I don't do that, and that will add the extra boost. And third thing I do is I play with my cat. So I I usually try to spend 2 minutes in the morning, 2 minutes in the evening just playing with her. And if I really need that booster, I'll just hold her for a while, for a couple minutes, a couple times a day, and she just stays in my arms, super warm, starts purring. It's very relaxing. That's my booster. Fourth thing is, again, kind of a checking in, just looking around the room and seeing how organized it is. If it's really messy, that really stresses me out too. And I don't realize it, I don't feel it as much sometimes when I check in with myself. And when I just clean up the place, I feel like, oh, you know, it's only a few things here and there. And if it just bothers me, I'm just gonna go crazy, clean it all up, wipe it down, and just, I sleep well that night. So that helps. Then I tend to either go out for a fresh walk. If you can kind of see behind me, it's a lot of greenery, a lot of trails. It's really pretty. Now, if you don't live in a place where you can get fresh air, go out for a calming walk. If it's too crowded, loud, whatever that may be, there's always an option to put on some kind of nature sounds. So I do that as well. I put on nature sounds, and I have this book, in fact, that is like a coffee table book and has really pretty pictures. So every once in a while, I will go through, you know, something in this book, you know, that's really pretty and just kind of helps me relax. I'll just see pictures, things like that. So I mean, you know, yeah, see, there's some really pretty pictures. I'll just stare at them for a few minutes. And so there are a lot of different ways of, you know, being in nature, either physically or being out, or auditorily or visually. So I try to get some of that nature time in. And then I also add foods to boost. So I have dark chocolate and strawberries. That's my go-to booster food. Blueberries as well. And I melt my dark chocolate with coconut milk. So I create a little fondue type thing, and I dip my berries in it and I eat it. So it's a little snack. It's healthy still, and it's still kind of yummy as well. So it's a nice, it makes me happy kind of booster. There's always other stuff like chicken soup, and I know people love ramen noodles. They're not healthy. Don't do that. It just, I used to do it a lot, and I get cravings for that every once in a while when I need that picker-upper. And so I try not to have any of those at home. They taste great. They're warm, especially when it's a cold day. You know, it's just warm soup just feels really nice. Just not good for your health overall, so in the long run. And then I have my thankful exercises. So usually, you know, when everything is just kind of blowing up in place, I will take some time to just say it out loud or write it down. I'm not much of a writer, so I'll just share it with someone when they come home. So I'm kind of mix the human connection side of things with this exercise. So I'll just list out things I'm thankful for, things I'm grateful for, things I do have, things that are going right. Focus on those. It just helps add that extra boost. So that's what I do. And so now what I am doing is keeping up with my spiritual practice. And what was the other thing I said? Oh yes, taking breaks. So making sure I'm taking a break to read or whatever else I need to do. And if I really need a booster, I'm going to go out for a walk. I didn't really step out yesterday. I was home all day. So that's yeah. I need to step out today. And that's it. That's all I have today. I have board game night today. I'm kind of excited. I'm going to meet people, play games. It'll be nice. So it's a weekend, and it's good to get that long break. It's only going to be 2.5 hours nonetheless. It'll help me at least realize it's a weekend even though I'm working. So excellent. I will see you guys next time.